Welcome back, race fans. This is the Crankbrothers Race Review series where myself and some selected co-hosts will break down each and every World Cup DH race this season. Crankbrothers is synonymous with the DH racing circuit, last year celebrating an incredible 14 years in a row of Elite World Champ wins with that mallet DH pedal. Now, they also won the 2024 World Cup overall title on the pedals. And it's not just pedals. Crankbrothers has been adding to their product offering over the last few years. And now a whole host of race winners and podium contenders are in their shoes. Riders like Ronan Dunn, Andy Cole, Bernard Kerr, Ocean O'Callaghan, Lucas Shaw, Cammy Belange, Troy Brosnan, and Benoit Coulange, plus many more. And in other exciting news, Commensal Makov will be running the Crankbrothers wheels this season. Now, I'm personally blown away by the shoes and pedal combo. I am a Boa Mallet shoe guy myself. It is easy the best shoe I have ridden. Yes, sports fans, I can't believe it. It's the last race of the season. And speaking of Crankbrothers, it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to bully Sven, Eddie Winmasters, Alan Milway, and even Ollie Wilkins joined for a review of Hardline. So thanks to everyone. They are excited to give away a Loic Bruni, the second edition of his signature pedal. Yes, I know it wasn't the fairy tale ending for Loic, but I think it's pretty fitting for you guys to try and win a set of pedals. So all you got to do is make sure you subscribe to my channel and Crankbrothers. Let us know your favorite moment of the whole season in this video on the YouTube and hashtag MalletDH. I'll pick a winner. They ship worldwide. Right. Enough for the admin, Sven. Man, that was shaking up to be the most fairy tale sport ending to a race you could have ever scripted. We didn't quite get it. That's how sport goes, really. But you've had zero sleep. Probably had done what have you shot double the amount of photos you probably ever do with all the podiums and the overalls and stuff?
I will get into my problems later. But you know what? It wasn't Andrew. Of course, for all of us and the fans, it's like a massive, confusing, surprising letdown. But the whole season has been a race, like on the track, off the track. Especially this round, every practice day was a lead up to the race run. The battle has been so much bigger and more all encompassing than we could ever actually think. It wasn't really about who. I mean, it was who was going to do better by a couple of positions on the race run, but it's what had to be done to get to that position and what each rider was pushing the other rider to do to get to that position. So, like any kind of performance or crash in a race run, it's almost like it happened anyway, but it just happened like two runs earlier because of the pressure and what you had to do, in training to get that race run that was going to win you the series overall. Never mind the race, it was the series overall. And surprisingly enough, it was Loic that had the upper hand the whole week. He was quicker, well, visibly, without a doubt. But we know Jackson can pull these crazy, I don't know what to even call his run. Like
rabbit out of a hat.
Rabbits out of a hat. I was trying to think of that, but I was thinking of something a bit more. Because rabbit's good for Jackson, isn't it?
He is like a rabbit. He is like a rabbit down the course. Yeah.
So
Dude, you're almost speechless about the build up and what went on in the season on all categories, right?
There's so many layers to it. And just watching kind of from the sidelines, and then they've gone along with the sort of the rivalry, and they've also promoted it in a healthy, fun way. But it's almost been like a self-fulfilling prophecy, like the rivalry that they've built up, although it's with tons of mutual respect, it was reaching a fucking pinnacle, man. There was little things happening, and I was like, is that just coincidence, or is that another little game? So right in the beginning of the week, this is not even a track walk day. Warner Brothers were doing two or three things. They were filming. They had a press conference on track walk day, but the day before, they wanted to get some promo shots of each rider with this trophy, right? In green screen and all these cool shots, and they run that, I'm assuming, in the pre-show, and they use it a little bit up in the socials promoting. So you have this black background, and you got Ronan. I mean, Ronan, Jesus, you got Jackson and Loic. And originally the appointment was, they were going to show up together and get the shots of both of them standing on the, like the boxing show off.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
like,
yeah, totally. Yeah,
yeah,
like
yeah.
UFC.
And we were actually going to do that. Cole and Dorian, like, and myself and Seb, like the photographers and filmers of each team, had agreed to do that, and the writers were keen to do that. And as it got closer, it was like, maybe, maybe we don't need to be the ones to elevate the extra attention. But anyway, as this luck would have it, Warner Brothers made that appointment. And then we're going to get a little pre-interview. And this is now already on a full week where they've got to focus on things. They've got this like hour set aside for Warner Brothers. And then the next day, there's another hour set aside for press conference. And that's a lot of time on a race week where there's so little time. And you've got massages booked, you're doing track walk, you want to stay in your routine and stuff. And this is breaking their routine, all these extra commitments. So anyway, we get there, and there's no Loic. He's just not there. Maybe this was after track walk. Yeah, actually, those appointments, sorry, were both on track walk day, and it was like, and then I was kind of near where they were in the rock, and I'm like, aren't you guys meant to be at an appointment? And it's pretty quick because I was racing down to get the behind the scenes shots, and then like they were like, no, we don't know anything about that, and I was like, do you or don't you? Because no, we did a press conference, and I'm like, all right, so I go down there, and Jackson's there already waiting, so that at least they're like, oh well, let's get all our shots and words of Jackson, and then like local show up soon. So like,
The iced
was
him.
that what? Yeah. So and there's like there you are like Jackson, and you're waiting and waiting, and it's like, hang on, is this like a mind game that's already starting? And I'm going to say, probably not, maybe because this was a late addition to the calendar, and maybe like the team didn't get notified of this earlier thing, and there were schedule changes because the track walk got moved later, and because the track walk got moved later, Specialized actually decided to have lunch before track walk instead of after track walk. So actually, it could be completely innocent, but I'm going to
Yeah,
say
but I
it's
like
not.
how you're making all these things up in your head. You're like, oh my goodness, this has to
Oh
be
yeah, so we're
intentional.
there,
Now he's
but
telling
then
me that they don't know, and you're like, oh, that's
and then we
great.
all us guys, we just want that shot. We want, we want what we want, and we want what the fans want. And then hats off to Seb Kemp, who was like, he's like the brand and global marketing manager for Santa Cruz. But this year they haven't had an official team manager position, so he's stepped in and sort of guided the team through this process. He just like Paul Jackson's like, we're not waiting, we've done our bit, and that's your time we gave you, and then off they went. And then literally, it had to have been 15 seconds. We're like, surely they passed in the passageway. Then Loic arrived, and then we all like calling, saying, hey, come back, because they're here. And they're like, we're done, we're out, which is good on them. And then, oh,
That's
fuck,
great. What
are we gonna start
for
this with
you?
the,
That must have been like the conspiracy theories just straight off the bat. That's great.
No, it gets worse. Listen to this. So actually, in the end,
It
we
gets
shot
worse.
Jackson separately. We shot Jackson separately, and we shot Loic separately, and we like can Photoshop the images together of them like next to the trophy, which we still haven't got to because we ran out of time. But I think I saw Warner Brothers did do that. So now get this. So on there's certain events around the world and certain sports around the world, and there's also like it also depends on the individual if you play into that superstition. But like, say for instance, one of the biggest, longest running, most respected surf contest is the Bells in Torquay, out in near Melbourne in Australia. So it's been running forever, and their trophy is a massive bell, right? And it's all these winners, but you'd never touch the
Oh, you
trophy.
never touch a
And
trophy before it's yours, do you?
okay, so you know about that? Is that the
Oh,
same
but I
with
mean,
golf and stuff?
I'm just more superstitious than some. Some races aren't, but I had a few quirky things. So I understand. I just knew where you were going with that. Like for sure, you don't touch a trophy before it's yours, unless you're the reigning champ, right? So who touched the
Actually,
trophy?
good. Okay, so Jackson the whole time he didn't look nervous, but
He
he just
didn't
looked
want to
at the
touch it.
he looked at the trophy, and he's looking around, and looking around, but he fucking never laid a finger on the trophy. And I'm just quietly, and I'm not going to prompt him, say, hey, like hold the trophy, kiss the trophy.
No,
You
hell
know,
no, you don't do that
no, this is
before.
their moment. I'm not like I will direct a lot of my photo shoots, but this is me being fly on the wall and not saying a word. Okay. I think I got him to throw a shaka. That's it. Loic walks in. He hadn't been in the room for like a second, and he was fucking double hands on the trophy. But then he just said like he's loaded. He won World Cup overall last year, right? Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's
and it's look,
four of the last six, to be fair,
jeez,
something
yeah.
like
So
that.
actually, you know what? In like you said, but still, he
Unless
might
I
be
got
reigning
that stat
champion.
wrong, I've been writing down a lot of stats, and I must
Okay,
give
so
Chris
that's
Murray credit for a lot of the stats we will quote because I was doing a lot of work, and then I saw
mm,
it came online. I was like, well, now it's fair game, so that's
mm.
cool.
But so maybe it is Loic's currently. It still is his trophy. So then that's his exception. But like it's kind of like anyway. So that was interesting to see the difference in like confidence. Like Loic owned it. He had it. He was like I wouldn't say he had the upper hand, but like kind of made Jackson wait and grab the trophy and stuff. And then this went on and into training, just like winning like one of I think second fastest time training, maybe, and then quali fastest, and it was like by a lot. He didn't need to. There's no point in quali. There's no need for him to have gone that fast in quali, other than to put pressure on Jackson, and force an error. And and then Jackson like kept being staying there, and after qualifying, like people had to change lines, and the pressure, a first run race morning crash. And is that, it's a simple error. Yeah, it is a simple error. A racing accident, practice accident could have happened anywhere, but it is that level that they had to ride every single run on the track, which which added to that. Going into this race, I was like, oh, it's Mont-Sainte-Anne fans. Jackson's won here twice before. It won't be. This is the perfect. Jackson's lucky. He did just enough in Lake Placid. He only has to beat Logue by a certain thing. I came in thinking Jackson had the upper hand. After training and after quali, I was like, oh boy. I was like, Loic has the upper hand, like for sure. And
He
but
definitely switched
Jackson,
the script.
Jackson,
He definitely
he's
switched the
yes,
script, and I heard like word on the street is it looked like a world champs week. His preparation, his
yeah, it was
speed,
flawless. It was
really,
flawless.
yeah.
It
And
was
and you
flawless.
would say like he didn't have to do that, but that's the strategy he employed. Is like, okay, well, I'm going to show you that I'm faster. Jackson's going to have to take note. No points, as you said, but then this thing that happened with him crashing first run, like you said, it's an absolute racing incident. But then if you put all the coincidences of everyone's riding faster than usual, race pace on race day is always quicker than the previous day's quali. There's just like that energy to it, right?
Yeah.
And he afforded him that opportunity in hindsight to see what Jackson was able to do. If he qualifies too close to Jackson or he has to go down first, what does he do with that injury on the bike? Like if Jackson was behind him, he has to try drop, has to try salvage a run with this injury, and then no one knows what Jackson can do. But he played his cards absolutely perfectly until the crash. Like he did really flip the
Mm.
script and put the pressure back on Jackson. And I couldn't believe the level that Jackson rode at in terms of he said he made some mistakes. The speed he rode to the rock garden, like he almost crashed visibly, it looked like 5 times. He could have gone flying off the bike. Like I know he's
Well,
in control and it's Jackson, but like there were moments there where I was
he
like,
wasn't. He
whoa,
wasn't
it
actually
seems like
in.
he could have crashed. And yeah, he said like he was just, and then the speed he carried in the bottom split after the rocks, like that's flat. So you got to just not break and be hungry for it. So credit to Jackson, like to come down to take the hot seat. He did everything he could for that
Yeah.
story to unfold. Like he didn't get handed the title. He went and won the race.
I mean,
And if Loic had had
yeah.
a fair go at it, it would have been an unbelievable race. It wasn't like Jackson. Imagine Jackson got eighth. Then you could be like, oh, I didn't want to win this title like that. Like, dude, he went out and earned every bit.
That's what I said to Jackson. Like he was really struck. This is right after the win, and maybe before it was before the podium. Which we got to talk about that moment because I've got to ask you what you were seeing on the live feed because there was the biggest crowd we've ever seen in Mont-Sainte-Anne ever, and I
Yes.
think it was more than Leger, man. We'll talk about
Did
that,
it
but
feel that way?
so I think it was that way. And it's so sad we're not coming back here for the foreseeable future. But on your end, okay, because I'll tell you what happened on our end, and this is with that what we all witnessed and saw and were confused because you obviously had the commentary, which I heard got told the information only when Luca was on track, second last rider. Well, he was in the end the last rider down on track. That's when Rick and them heard that Jackson wouldn't be going to start. So did you guys get told like when when Lucas Run finished, were you already prepped, or did they go to an empty gate before they explained anything, or did you get the news? Because we didn't know a thing for
No,
about
so
3 minutes
no one.
into Loic's supposed run. No one knew a thing, but I heard that the. So tell me what happened on the live feed, because this is really interesting.
But Nico mentioned on their podcast he had no idea what to say. So if Rick had been given information earlier during Luca's run, he didn't let
Yeah,
on. They first showed the gate. Then
they
they
did show the
first
empty gate.
yeah, and it really sounded like they authentically didn't know what was going on. It was
Okay, and
quite the
so maybe they
moment
didn't. Yeah.
because yeah, and it was brilliant TV because even the commentators couldn't say, well, the reason you're seeing the empty gate is X. They're saying Nico said he had no idea what to say. He had the own conspiracy series going in his head. Like, is this like a TV moment? Is this like him? He would never have missed the run. So what's going on? And then only later in that moment did it seem like they got words that, okay, he's not going to take the start. He might have been injured in a practice run. They kept that so quiet
Okay,
versus the
so
Max L run where you were sending me text. Apparently, like Nico got the
everyone
Max L run finger
from
within
via
30
Steve Pete at
seconds.
the UK.
Yeah, yeah, via 30
So
seconds like later. So there's your
so
answer.
this
It was
okay. So
incredible
that's
TV
good.
for that matter.
That's good, because that's the cliffhanger on the edge of your seat. What the fuck moment was unbelievable, and I was like shooting, waiting for Loic to be in the gate, shooting Jackson's like reaction to Loic as he comes down the track with the splits, and it like so there's like three scenarios that flashed through my head like straight away. I was like, you remember last year when 2 years ago when Jackson was coming down the track, and then that spectator got on the finish line, and like, well, anyway, Jackson was in the Rock Garden 2 years ago on that winning run, and then there was a spectator like running down the Red Bull jump, that
Yes,
lost
yes.
straight away. And then Zach Faulkner, one of the photographers, like took him out along with the security guy and just rolled him off the track, which was brilliant. Anyway, so I was like, that's what's happening, because there was like the spectators were at the bottom, like literally after Jackson's run, and Cole and all the other guys are coming, they're like shaking the barriers, and I was like, okay, they've put the hold on start because the course has been breached and there's people already on the track, and we could see that there were people at the track. So we're like, they're getting a couple of unruly spectators like packaged and off the track, and then they're going to quickly open the track, right? And then I was like, then it's still, and we still didn't know what's going on. It still, I was like, well, they wouldn't hold it that long because then that's not fair, and it'll mess with Loic's warm ups, and like you can't. This is UCI. The track, you open the like, you go with the clock. This is what we love about racing. Nothing holds it up. It's all about the clock. The clock decides the winner. The clock decides when you go. But he wasn't fucking going. So then I was like, okay, maybe someone sabotaged the live feed because they pissed off because they didn't get the Mont-Sainte-Anne and other venues. It's like they cut because there was like talks of why that there was some live timing glitches at Lake Placid because they thought the environmentalists that didn't give the track position were coming and like the eco warriors and cutting and pulling the split times. I was like, that's what's happened here. And then the worst thought in my head, I was like, as a father, I was like, there's only one thing that would. Then I was like, maybe something's happened. Maybe Loke's just had his baby, or he has to be there, and he just left the venue and got on a flight and went home to be with
That
his
was, I
partner. And
think,
that
I
was,
think the commentators said that. Like, could it be that? But then you're like, but you were there in morning practice, so you would just
yeah.
you
But I
couldn't
thought,
get home in
so
time
this
anyway.
is, so you can imagine everyone must have been having their own like personal
Yeah, yeah,
internal
totally.
thoughts.
And no one
And
wanted to
then,
believe that he wasn't going to take the start. They were like, but he couldn't
yeah,
have missed the start. It's Loic Bruni. There's no way
and I
he's
shot.
missed his start time.
Yeah, I shot below the rock on, and I saw him both his training runs looking incredibly fast. And after the race, after I knew what happened, I looked at the photos, and yeah, he was there. He was like, he had bits of dirt all like, down his leg and on his hand and on his arm. Um, and as the story plays out, and now we know what happened. Do you remember one of the races he won? One of the early season races, the second or third one that he won or got on the podium. That week, he started that race week off in the hospital, getting that hematoma on his thigh, upper
Ah,
thigh.
yes,
He was getting it.
yes.
He started the week, I
He
think,
was getting it drained.
On
He
track
had to go
walk
get
day.
it
I think he
drained. I
still
think,
got it drained. Yeah. So
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
this so a lot of people don't know. Like Minar had the same injury on riding moto, and you get it. and especially on these really fit athletes where you have very little body fat and it's over major muscles that are literally, your muscles are so big like Superman, they're popping out of your skin. There's very little space. So basically, it can run into a thing called compartment syndrome, which you obviously know about. And when Menard got to a hospital with this exact same thing, same location as Loic, they told Menard, like, if you had got in a day later or even 12 hours later, you might have had to amputate your leg. So this
Yes,
is
they
a,
said. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember you can actually lose your leg if you leave it too long and you
yeah.
don't get it drained. Yeah, it's a really really scary injury because you tough guys, tough women, you're forced to ride through the pain, and we do all the time, and it's just a bruise, right? It's a hematoma, fancy word for a bruise, but it's internal bruising, internal bleeding.
Yeah, and he could do his two training runs because it wasn't, the swelling hadn't set in. But then that time between race run and then going through his warm up, and uh, I'm not 100% confirmed because unfortunately I haven't been able to speak to Loic, but I heard he spent the night in hospital. So it wasn't just like, you read people, but he's playing mind games, and like, why did the worst one is like, why didn't you show up at the podium? Gracie managed to crawl up onto the podium out of the hospital, but
There's always a reason, right? Let's get the reasons first.
Loic was in the hospital. There's a reason he wasn't at the podium. He wasn't just hanging
Yeah.
like in his hotel room, like all pissed off. And what they did, though, my God, that was the most well played hand you could possibly have done. That they still went up, and nobody, maybe only his mechanic knew, maybe his trainer, like nobody had a clue. Like Jackson, I mean, Jackson, we saw he almost crashed. Jackson said he made a huge error in the rock garden, and that would have been Loic winning the title, like literally.
Dude, I feel like it's because he's so light. He just like any other rider seemingly would have gone over the bars, and he sort of just like rode the front light, and he also could have ruined a wheel the speed he was going through the rocks, like Ronan done. Like you could have easily done a flat tire wheel.
I said, "What was your mistake? Did you like get offline?" So he says, "No, my mistake is I just went too fast."
Yeah,
I'm like, I was like, "You didn't like make a mistake." He says, "No, I kind of, it was the first time where he didn't intentionally go too fast and just go YOLO and open the throttle. He said it was a mistake, but it also was probably that run that you're on this like high and this invincibility feeling, and he just didn't shut it down. Maybe he believed he can like just go through that fast. But he said it was a definite mistake and he should not have done that. And he almost, like, you saw him go forward. And like you said, if a heavier rider, it could have been a wheel or over the bars. But man, that it's so good to see an old school downhill. We've had that at Rock Garden like from the beginning, and it's never changed. It's probably got a bit worse because there's less dirt in the back, to help take some of the impact out. But it's so nice that we have such an old school thing that tests bike and body, and you do have to be somewhat conservative. Jackson got away with it, but like, seeing two talented brothers like the Alaran brothers, seeing them both make obvious mistakes in their quali runs, and then seeing Asa and Jonty Williamson so good in it in the junior. Like I've never seen. Yeah, we'll talk about Asa later because Jesus. But here's another like one of those things where you don't know if you should say too much. Like I don't sort of give any one team or rider more line advice or suggestions over another, but when they ask you, it's like, hey, what happened to the Rocket? And I was like, yeah, the twins just didn't look like they were on the fastest line, and they both made mistakes in their line. So maybe that was just because they made mistakes. And I suggested to their team manager that they should change their line. And then I heard the run before the last practice run. I was like, then I heard Max. Boris sends me a photo of his finger, and it's going like 90 degrees, and there's blood on the finger. So I'm like, oh, it's not just a dislocation. If there's blood, it's a compound fracture. And I was like, fuck, did he change his line? Because I told Gaten I never told the rider directly because it's not my role. I put it through the channels. And then sure enough, and then in race run, then Till goes over the bars, and I was like, oh my God, is that also me? Did I make him change his run? He's going over the bars. And I was like kind of even scared to go to Common St. Michael. I was like, anyway, I go to Gaten, I'm like, did the boys changed their lines because I told them to, and now they both basically crashed. And he's like, and he was like kind of pausing, trying to make me feel bad. And then he's like, no, no, they stayed on the same lines. So I was like, yes.
That's
I
great.
was,
He should have.
I was,
He should have
I was,
made
they
you
should have
sweat
changed their
there.
lines.
They should
They
have
should
no. Well, they should have changed your lines, maybe, but they should have made you sweat that you got them to change your lines, and then they crashed. But I mean, that brings us back. Like we didn't quite put a bow in Loic's cards,
Yeah,
right? He was dealt
yeah,
these
yeah,
cards, and if we just unpack like the full story,
yeah.
no place in sport do you let on your weaknesses to your competitors. That's why we go
Right.
racing, right? Injuries are always like kept quiet. It's up to you. It's like you're allowed to. It's individual sport. So of course he was going to keep it quiet. He wasn't obviously as a title hunt. He used the word hoping for a mistake from Jackson. Now English isn't his first language. I
No, but
think
I
maybe
mean, that is the fact,
what is fair is its
not
fact
in a
is
malicious way.
not in a
Yeah,
malicious way. He's going up saying, I can't physically ride down this track, it seems, at any normal pace. But if there is a mistake by Jackson, which obviously I'm hoping for the title, which is a flat, a crash, obviously he doesn't want him to get hurt. No one does. Let's just get the keyboard warriors to just settle down a little bit here. It's sport.
yeah,
But
yeah,
if Jackson had made a mistake or crashed, then Loic said he was going to take the start and see if the leg could have survived. You know, maybe Loic needed to get 23rd if
yeah.
Jackson had made this huge mistake. So I
They
think
would have had the
incredibly
points. They would have had the
incre-
points breakdown, and they would have
yeah,
known
and
exactly
like
what.
it's
Yeah,
100% how sport works. He earned the right to go up last. Let's not forget by qualifying fastest to come back to that point.
yeah.
He earned
All
the
the
right
cards.
by
Yeah,
being in the title hunt, by being ahead in the points. I mean, he just did incredible. It's just gut wrenching that that's the way it ended, and yeah, what a bummer. We didn't get to see that, but the same thing is Jackson got 5 wins in a season, the first since Aaron Gwynn, 2011.
yeah,
He's also got 7 World Cup wins to his name. He's a third-year elite, but he missed a full year. So in 2
yeah,
seasons, Jackson Golson has 7 wins and a World Championship. So he
yeah.
also earned this title. It wasn't given to anyone. It was this weird circumstances that we've never seen drama in our sport. So I just wanted to put like a little bow in that. Like everyone that has any education on the sport or has ridden is respecting Loic's decision, including Jackson.
Oh, one
Like,
hundred
how
percent.
could you not? It was just it was incredible to see those guys. And like you said, I commend those guys. They lent into this title rivalry. That is a distraction. The mind games, all those things. It was incredible to witness them like trolling each other on Instagram and going to these press conferences together. Like it's tough, but really good for our sport. So I thank those two people for sure.
Yeah, we're incredibly lucky that we got those two that have kept us so entertained on the edge of our seats. The only other one that was this close and this sort of out there was the Stevie Smith and G Atherton that culminated in Leogang, which was also, we didn't have the power of social media, but we they both lent into it pretty good, and they were good mates, like filming video pods together. But man, it was just like,
And what about did you see the comparison with Manar and Volios back in Mont-Sainte-Anne? History repeating himself.
Minaj had that with about 5 people, which is unbelievable. With it,
So
yeah,
Manar was young buck. I think it's second year elite. He wins
yeah.
in
Is this?
Caprun,
Yeah.
closes the gap to Volios. He does this rock gap that no one
Oh
else
yeah.
was doing.
Oh no,
And
I know
he
the Rock
takes
in
down
Mont-Sainte-Anne.
and he takes down the GOAT. So there were a lot of similarities with the young buck Jackson, although he won 4 races coming in.
Yeah,
But he's very young. His second full season, but third year elite. So there's like 1 year older than Greg. And then he's taking down the current greatest Frenchman. And I think in some minds, the GOAT in a different way, with the way he's willing, the way he's able to win all the overalls as well as the world championship
yeah.
in a more hotly contested field. Like it's so tough to compare Loic to a Volios because they're in different eras, right? It's the same sport analogy all around when they're not competing at the same time.
Yeah, you got Volios, which has the most world champs wins, and you've got Menard with the most World Cup wins. But if you put the two most important titles together, which is even like sort of, I'm
Like
not going to say
Loic has
above,
those.
because yeah, so Loic, There really is another category, like if you want to call it the best all rounder or the best that can rise to the occasion on both greatest days, the World Cup series for a year. And that's without a doubt. Loic is a goat, not a goat because Nico has that title, Greg has that title. Loic is maybe a bit more goatee than both of them. Like there's the World Cup and there's the World Champs and there's Loic because he's got both. Like there's the pyramid that all-seeing goat eye.
Yeah, he's got the most overalls while having the most world championship, or like
Some
for a
yeah.
guy that has the most world championship, he also has the most overalls. Like, yeah, true. So, I mean, we could glaze these guys in this podcast, the whole podcast, as they deserved.
It's not glazing. This is just a massive respect and where respect is due.
I think is glazing just not a new word for respect. It's just a
No,
young word.
it's like it's like blowing. No, yeah, glazing's like yeah. No, I don't
we
know.
too old. We too old to know what the
Yeah,
terminology
see, we're
actually
using it
means.
wrong. Anyway.
Yeah, clearly.
No,
But
we're not talking somebody up. We're giving
okay,
them massive
since we're
respect where
on
it's due.
since we're on the titles, we'll come back to like the men's podium. Maybe
Yeah.
we shift gears and just like wrap up Valley Hall, Happy Rider, Fast Rider. I think Carl Murray found the stat of like it was going to be the first win since Amory and Fort William or something in short pants. Like what a weird stat.
Oh, did he
Actually,
find? Did he find that?
yeah,
Good on
I
him.
feel like he did. I was like, where does he come up with those stats? Like, do you have to dig up like picture
Pictures. You
archives?
have to find
Yeah, like you have to find
photographs.
pictures of like when did we think shorts was still like a cool thing?
No, but you remember
Uh,
Sam Hill started. Sam Hill got everyone to ride baggy motor pants, and Troy Lee started like putting them motor pants in the mountain bike line, and then they made them a bit lighter weight, but they were loose and baggy. But Sam Hill was the first guy that was maybe Nathan Rennie as well. That was like long pants guy. But then when everyone switched to long pants, Sam Hill started wearing shorts. You remember that? That was like in like Norway when he was going to win and he went over the bars and rock and he was in shorts and stuff, you know. So
yeah.
it's
Anyway,
weird.
I mean, it's a
Sam
random
Hill,
thing, but
yeah.
I
But
thought
anyway,
Valley was worried that her shorts are too long. No, knee pads are
no,
too
they,
long, and she doesn't have enough legs sticking out. I thought she looked pretty good, and she was ripping.
dude, I
Um,
guarantee you she's going to wear shorts for at least a couple of races next year because it's kind of going to be a thing, and maybe she'll be
no
noticed for
ways.
that thing. No, why? She's going to wear it again. She
I'll
didn't. She didn't finish the run like she wanted to. I guarantee she'll wear some shorts
No,
again.
I think she hated it, but she said a bet's a bet. But anyway, I'll bet you that she doesn't. But I'll bet
Okay,
you
there's
that she'll come in good next year. I think this is
yeah.
cool to see her like riding happy, self-supported. I was joking with Win, like he almost had to give the privateer award to her. Obviously, it's a joke. She's got
Mm,
enough paying sponsors, but that was cool to see Happy Valley in the finish line. Just ironic the way she ended. Sport's cruel, and like Gracie Hemstrid as well, like one of her best years ever. Last race this season between her and Camille Belange had two of the ugliest crashes I've seen in a long time from
mm,
anyone in the sport. It happened to be
yeah.
the ladies. Dude, the course is
Yeah.
fast, eh? So jumping around, I've noted a few stats.
Yeah.
Time wise, in 2005, so if we go 20 years back, 5 minutes 02, Burrell won the race. 2015, so 10 years ago, 4:22 won the race. And in 2022, so 3 years ago, short 3 years ago, Finn Isles won in 4:11. Dude, the
Wow.
course is 30 seconds quicker, same start.
Mm,
I mean, it's just hellishly fast. Well, similar start, like, like the course has got fast. There's more berms. Dude, that triple into the Manar gap down the bottom. I mean, I
yeah.
had to almost cover my eyes watching the
Yeah.
broadcast.
And dude, how about
So
this? The
fast.
first time ever, I think three of the ladies did it.
I saw.
The
That
Monarch.
was
Yeah.
sick.
So like the fact that the women's like Marine that won Marine the race, you know, simple as that. And she put her head down and committed to it, and that won her the race. How cool is it that yes, it's got a lot easier than when Greg pioneered it along with Lucas Shaw. But it's like you see, there's a lot of men not doing it. Like it's still you have to the entry double in. Like the whole situation is easier because you don't have to go over that big pile of rocks. You're going around it now and everything. And they removed two trees that you had to like thread the needle between. But the fact that I think it was Lou Ferguson was the first lady to hit it, and I know Marine hit it, and I know someone else hit it. I just can't remember who now. Anyway, Uh, yeah, I mean, even the women's racing has been elevated to the same levels along the men's racing, and they're forcing each other to ride outside of the comfort zone. And you wouldn't have put Marine down as one of the ones that would be hucking a big gap, that you think that would be Gracie or someone else. So, even someone that's you think, yeah, so that's just racing and what it does to people, and it's helping, like, the pressure on these riders to deliver for the team. Canyon and Common Makov were in a basically came down to the last race, and in all categories, their juniors and their females and their elites, they had to do what they had to do, and Canyon delivered more solidly this round as they did the round before. Yeah, and yeah, the
I think it's
constructors
just the
titles.
the incremental gains of the sport. Like seeing the women crash like that just shows you the level you're forced to push with the Q1, Q2, more depth in the field to get these results. It's back in the day, you could probably, if you were a top rider, ride 95%, get maybe on the podium, definitely a top 10. That's not the case anymore. It hasn't been for a while. So that's just,
Mm,
yeah, incredible to see, but also brings in that danger. And this is not, I'm not throwing anything at anything on the course or anything. It just has got quicker. TV kind of demands that. Courses are getting more bermed up, it seems. Like, they're putting more effort into tracks, but when you go and put effort into a track, you probably look at a section and you bank it a bit, you make it neater. You put
mm,
work into a track, and that often makes it smoother for the first run or two, so
mm.
those speeds have been elevated with the talent, with the bikes. I mean, we've said it all along, but yeah, that was definitely exciting to run. Marine is just sneaky assassin,
Mm.
like World Cup wins to a name, to the season. Few stats like will take us. There were 5 winners in each category. It's quite cool. So 5 different winners throughout the season of the 10 race season. That was pretty cool. Um, but the podiums, 23 different men and 15 different women. And that's for a 3 rider podium. We should go old school and say who's in the top 5, because that would be historic.
So 23 different men, because there's only 30, because there's the, like, 10 times 330. So
No, hang on. Sorry, hang on. I've butchered this. Of the 30 podium spots, 23 of the
yeah.
spots, sorry, where's this damn, I love this stat and now I've lost it. Yeah, 15 different men and 10 different women got a top 3 podium this season. Sorry, that was a different stat. So thanks again to Chris Murray. He did this. And this is not even a top 5. That's a lot of different riders that were
Yeah.
able to get top 3 podiums, not top 5.
Yeah.
Same as the
That's
women, but it shows the depth is a little bit more in the men just by stats.
yeah.
That's crazy, eh?
Yeah. I mean, there's, like,
That's
if
a lot.
there's 15 different men that can get
Can get a
on the
top 3.
podium, then, and Q1 is only taking 20 people, you literally, to make a final, you're pretty much a podium rider. If you can get top 30, you can also get on the podium, yeah, and definitely a top 5. So how's this, Andrew? How's this? I'm hearing whispers. Huh. I'm not
Are
going
you
to name
allowed to
names.
speak of this? Okay, don't get yourself in trouble. Don't get the other
No, I'm
people
not
in
getting
trouble.
into trouble, but I'm hearing whispers that a lot of the riders, including a bunch of the top riders, that were very for cutting the field down to 30 and making the field super professional and elite and getting rid of a bunch of privateers, and I've heard even a couple of those guys are wanting 40 riders in the final, because a couple of those guys didn't make a lot of finals, um, which
Uh,
is interesting. And this is what we said.
I mean, I can't backtrack my take on this, but didn't I say this for the last 3 years?
We've been very public. It's not enough, and it's not fair.
Yeah, we have been public.
Yeah, and also it's going to be better for the fans and for Warner Brothers, because
Let's do
you
it,
don't
dude.
you don't want to go to a race and potentially not have Jackson or Loic or whoever, or Amri or Finn or whoever, like, those are the guys you want to also see race. Yes, they have to earn their place in the final, but getting top 40 to me is also earning a place in the final. If like you said, 15 different people have won the race out of 30 spots. It just shows there is that depth, and to cut it at 30 only is not enough. They barely show the top 10 riders. The runs are like quite boom, boom, boom. So you're
Yeah,
not
I
seeing
was
full
thinking
runs
about
anyway.
it. I was thinking about it more. I think it'd be cool to get in a room and like maybe like spitball this, go back to first principles, like what are we trying to achieve? I think there's a world where there's 40 or 50. I mean, I have been vocal about it. In a perfect world, I'd like to see that. Maybe that's a nice way to give feedback. Not
Yeah.
you're wrong, this is right. I would like to see that. But what I'm also thinking is you should earn your way onto TV, right? So maybe you do pre-record the top 3 runs because then you haven't missed the podium or the winner.
Yeah.
Say he comes
Yeah. No,
early,
no, for sure. Those
and
runs need
then
to be pre-recorded.
and then you go to a TV package of like 20,
The top
25
30.
guys. So it's like more
Yeah.
content, top 30, or maybe like I say, maybe less to like
Bit longer
really,
runs. Yeah.
longer, exactly, to have longer runs and to not lose the broadcast when you're like, this guy's nowhere near the hot seat time. So I was just wondering, but also, teams are spending a lot of money, so they want their riders on TV, things like that. So there's all these different like pros and cons. But no point beating a dead horse. I think it's pretty safe and a fair comment to say it'd be nice to have at least 40, if not 50. And with the juniors coming up, that point
Yeah.
has even more ammo.
And I think perhaps that's why these guys are suddenly
Oh, maybe the elites are changing their vote now when they see there's like 5 dudes
these
going
5
so
dudes going to
fast.
take the spot. And like, how hard was it to get 30 guys in, or 20 in Q1 and 10? And now you're going to have 5 more guys that are going to slot in there.
Hey, I'll be the first to say if I was that elite guy still racing, I would
You'd
be
be saying,
petitioning for more riders watching those
hell
juniors.
yeah.
I'd be shitting myself. So
Of
I'm
course
not
you would be.
judging any riders. I would be that very rider. I would have petitioned it from the get-go for various reasons. So, yeah. What else
Hey,
happened? Ronan Dunn. What?
Hey, just one thing, because we're on that subject about, we've always said it's not like that they're doing things wrong, but we would do it a different way, or would think further into the future of the sport. But one thing it was literally before Jackson's run, I was standing up on top of this one container and I was looking around and I was just thinking, like, this is like a part in history. I've never seen downhill racing this good, this competitive. And I was looking at the crowd. I've never seen Mont-Sainte-Anne, and I was just thinking, you know what? I wouldn't say we should talk Warner Brothers Discovery, but we've definitely given them some constructive opinions. But and I just sat back and I was like, you know what, Sven, you might say a lot of things, but they are getting so many things right, and they're getting also the right
I
things right.
agree.
They what they've done to get this intense rivalry that we've witnessed, it's on them. They've made the sport more professional. They've made it look better. They've branded it. They have 100% elevated the sport and the level of competition, the professionalism, and what that's also done. And I don't know if it's just because the fans saw that they're not going to have Mont-Sainte-Anne next year, so they came out en masse and they're like, oh, this might be our last one, and we've never been, or we used to go, and everyone came, but hell, hats off to them, because to get that many people on this cold, almost winter's day, I was like, damn, yeah, they have done an amazing, and we got to thank them for what they've elevated our sport to, and made the story of the racing that people probably came last minute because they're like, I can't believe this battle between, I want to be there to see who wins between Jackson, and obviously it's a Canadian that's in the hunt, so he's going to bring more spectators, and when you go to Leger. But I almost think there was more people than Leger. If you look at the drone shot from the mid-course by the Stevie Smith rock roll, they weren't just lining the course. They were like both sides, like double deep, like triple, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think this is the biggest, possibly. I don't know. But
I got a
so
few.
yeah,
I got a few texts on that. Like I did
yeah,
notice how deep the spectators were from the rocks all the way down. Like the finish area
yeah,
can always look busy, and you've took the words straight out of my mouth. Like I'm trying to like rephrase. Like I said, here's what I would love to see: 40 in the final, maybe 50.
yeah.
I would like to see it. There's no shit talking anyone there. I would like to see that. What I am so impressed with, Sven, like you said, the branding, hyping up. The just professionalism, course marking, which I obviously said in the first episode with you, I was like, I don't like, that's not a big deal to me. But fast
It
forward 3
is.
years,
Yeah.
it's a little component. And like in business, I always say to the guys at the shop, and it's all the small things you sometimes actually don't notice, but because they're done, it makes the whole package better.
Mm,
Dude, that wall behind Jackson, the wall behind Valley, like that is world class, right? So it's all
mm,
those small things. We're like, oh, why are they focusing on that? I would have done this. Like, yes, but the whole package together over 3 years or however long they've been doing it. And we've had our little critical moments and things we said we'd love to see more of or better. But they have done an incredible job on that. Like I thought I was going to text you. I'm like, dude, the branding, the professionalism, the sport looks huge. You know,
It is.
it
It
does
is
look
huge.
it
Yeah.
does look huge visually, which was really cool to see. You know.
But the bloody prize money is still a joke. The boxer world champs. So we had boxer world champs after the race. So I'm skipping, but you just like, I was like, Dawson was like, "Oh, we're gonna give the like we got the biggest prize money ever for boxer world champs," and he's like, "It's €3,000." I'm like, I
It
said,
has to be
Dawson,
more than the World
I
Cup
said,
winner.
Dawson, like you're missing the biggest thing. It's like make it more. Just he said, how much? What? No, I don't know. He's like, yeah, actually, you know what? They'll approve that for sure. I was like, and he's like, how much more? I'm like, dude, it doesn't matter if it's 1 cent more or $1 more. Just make
It
it
has
more.
to be
And I
more.
think it was $1. It was $1 more. And Maxime, who was he's like now the head technician at Commensal Markov. So he oversees all the mechanics. I never see him working on bikes anymore. He's just like looking around. He's like that boss that just because those Commensal Markov are so dialed. And they got him, and I was like, I wonder if he still works on bikes. And then he goes boom, and he goes and wins the Boxer World Champs. I'm like, oh yeah, he's still the boss. He's still the boss.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
so
more
cool. I
prize
did
money. I mean,
see.
if you get more prize money for the mechanics, and we can make that happen, and you're having pulling crowds that big, and the riders are risking their lives. They literally, men's and women's field, going to fucking hospital. Pay them more, reward them, even though it's not about the money, it's about the principle.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is. But you and I, that's great. If we didn't have a Sven rant or a Needles rant, it wasn't going to be a podcast. Then why
Yeah.
did we even get together on things? I think that's a very fair point, Sven. I think principle goes a long way in life, and things cost more money to put on. But figure it out in the line item. Get some creative accounting
Make it a
going.
non-negotiable. Make it a
Yeah, we have.
non-negotiable.
It just looks better, and I think like spread the love. So yeah, look, the cost to put on that race series on what all the things we like them to do costs a shit ton of money. So for sure, but I just think, yeah, get creative with the accounting and make sure the prize money looks better somehow for the riders. I think that'd be cool. And it's fair. Inflation's the thing.
My TV
I mean,
tower has
speaking of
collapsed.
speaking of budget, this podcast is on a huge budget.
You saw that right there.
Sven Martin's got the cheapest beer in Canada to prop up his laptop. So
Dude, that
I haven't
came
started a
from,
Patreon, but maybe
like,
I need to start a Patreon so I can pay
yeah,
Sven more
please
to get
let
on
us
his
drink
calls.
better beer.
Yeah, we'll do a GoFundMe to
Get a
support
beer
all the
sponsor.
guests.
We can have beer sponsors in sport, can't we?
100%. The
So any beer sponsor
dude
want to jump on
for
here?
someone.
Devil's Peak.
Remember speaking, you were glazing Nico. Like Nico has a beer sponsor for like a quiet, like put together kid, respectful. Like
He
he's
should get a
smoking
cigarette sponsor
cigarettes
too.
now. Like he had a beer sponsor before many riders. Like, dude, he's the lad.
Man,
Nico's a proper lad. And then that brings us a
talking
perfect
about
segue. Turns out I'm a decent host of this podcast. Asa Vermette, different time of day, but you can't tell me the track conditions were that different. Pressure is different. Interesting, because he did not look like he was trying to die out there like Jackson Goldstone. He looked quite calm and collected.
so in training, he was in his quality run. I was like, that's the fastest I've ever seen anyone do the rock garden in my life. Since 2003, never seen anyone do it faster. And like you just said, you nailed it. He didn't look like he was risking his life doing it. He's just loving these Durango conditions. And like, when he gets to be this confident fast in Europe, like, yeah, those guys are gonna watch out.
But I do think some of the boys are listening to this podcast, so big up, guys. I think it's going to elevate everyone's game. All the boys going home in the off season, they're not going to go, oh well, maybe Jackson, I won the overall. He's going to be like, okay, how do I improve? Juniors are coming. I'm going to watch this. Speaking of beer, hold my beer. I'll show you juniors how it's a little different when you enter the elite ranks. Like you can't just say they're going to come out and smoke everyone. That's why we go racing. That's why we have a stopwatch, a clock, and a 10 race series, or how many we have next year.
Yeah. So I spoke to Asa after his run. This is before the leads dropped in. And I'm like, dude, you just did fastest time of the day. He's like, no, no, no. He's just so humble. And he's like, no, no, I made 3 mistakes in my run. So I think, I don't think it'll be fastest time of the day. And I said to him, I said, dude, you have no idea. There's no way anyone can possibly go faster than, and I just put my, I like, there's no way, because I kind of knew what time you could get out of this track, and I saw his time, and I was able to watch a bunch of his run on the live feed, and I was like, it's impossible.
How do you know what time you can get out of the run when you've never finished a Mont-Sainte-Anne with air in your tires? How do you even know?
Because I've had so much more time on the side watching other people finish with air in their tires.
I
And
thought you'd like that one.
it's too bad that we didn't get to see Ronan finish his run, because he might have had something for
Well, the
he might have
splits
had
show
something
that
for
he
us.
did. The splits show that he did have something. It wasn't as wild as some of his previous runs. He was definitely going for it. But okay, now I'm going to
And to
try to
finish,
choose my words wisely.
finish,
Go for it.
yeah, to finish what I was saying, he said the only rider he thought, he said Loic would beat him by point 0.5. So, and I just told him, no one's going to beat you. That's the fastest run of the day. And as it turned out, it was. But yeah, you're going to say to him about Loic, I mean, about Ronan. He stubbornly hit the same rock twice at, was it Shumper? Where was it?
Ludenville.
Ludenville. Like, I mean, he's riding so much better everywhere else, and riding more mature and consistent and making smart choices and not being wild Ronan. But at some point, you do have to change your run and not run into a rock. It doesn't matter what tires and wheels you're running. At some point, you can control, not all the time, but at some point, you got to control where you put your bike.
Yeah, so two opposing things can be true at the same time. And let's see if I've
Okay.
got this
Oh,
correct.
let's hear this one.
All right,
Let's
let's
hear
see
this
that.
one.
Okay, so a flat tire can be unlucky,
Okay.
and it can also be rider error all at the same time. So he
Yeah,
can
a bit
be
of both.
unlucky to have maybe been going that quick, to be kicked and not wanting to land on that rock. But it's also rider error to not have avoided that rock and maybe readjusted or pulled harder or pulled less and not hit the rock. So
Which rock was it, by the way?
it was after the rock garden. Then you sort of, some guys were pre-hopping into the downslope, and then where you jump off again,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
Cammy went over the bars, like
Yeah.
craziest thing ever. So there, as he landed, he sort of spiked the wheel and tire, and it looked like I don't even know if he collapsed the rim. It more just blew the tire off the rim. So
But
Nico
he did that
mentioned it
in
as well. Like it
he
is
did that in Q1 as well, though.
where in Mont-Sainte-Anne.
Yes. Actually, no, it's similar section, not exact same
Yeah, I
rock
mean
though.
that's racing. You got to keep your bike and bits together. And I've certainly flattered where it was unlucky, and then I've also flattered where, like, okay, well, I've hit that rock too hard, and I should have avoided that sharp edge rock better. Like it is, unfortunately both things can happen, right?
Yeah.
But he was fast. It was sort of very calculated to that point, and I think your mention of Ace in that fast time, I think Kolb was quite surprised at his time, and because Ace had beaten his time, I think he kind of just like expected that someone else was going to beat that time, and it took till Jackson to do it. He was like, oh well, Ace is already ahead of me, so there must be some more time out there.
So should I tell you something about Cope?
Please. What?
Yeah.
Where he's riding? No, you're not allowed to. It's not. It's not released yet.
No, it's not. It's not. So he's raced the whole year and had great results, but he knew Mont-Sainte-Anne is just a little bit rockier, drier, rougher. And when he got on the team, he said he had asked him briefly about the idler, because he's known that there has been an idler set up on the YT, and they were like, no, we've tried it, doesn't work, and no one likes it, and it doesn't work. Something made him, so the whole year he's not ridden the idler. He didn't actually test it. Something made him, before he left for US, he's like, I'm going to pack an idler in. And they managed to find one that would work with the YT. And him and his mechanic popped it on Tuesday. And he went and rode one of these bike park trails here. And he was like, oh my God, this feels amazing. And he was told explicitly, not good. We tried it, forget about it, don't need it. And he got on it and he's like, I can't believe this. So he's now ridden the whole season pretty much on a setup that he would. What he rode here, he probably would have loved to have ridden the whole season. And he got on the bike, and then Montana, he's like, dude, like he would not have been able to get the result he did if he never made that choice. Him as mechanic and doubled down, and hats off to that whole team that are still like soldering on and looking for those small details and those milliseconds when the whole like they're still funding it, like that they're still showing up and doing the work, whether it's paid or unpaid, and they're looking for it, and that's just so admirable. And anyway, so any of you guys have a YT, get the idler set up if you ride like fast, rocky, dry, rough setups, because Kolb said it is better, and there we go, got him on the podium, didn't it?
Maybe there was a reason when they were still paying that they didn't want him to ride it because there was some OEM issue. But then now he just is like, okay, well, now I don't have to listen to anyone. Yeah, no, props to them. And for Andy stepping up when this is tough. Like, he signed one of the better deals of his life, could have taken more money, 4-year deal. Like, he could have played a victim mode and probably still got a ride for next year, but he just, like, took the bull by the horns. Is that the correct saying? I keep messing that one up. Bull by the horns, and off he went. I think it affected Ocean more than those other two, like, clearly. That's my guess. I haven't spoken to anyone directly. Like, I'm just guessing. It seems to have affected him, which is normal. Like, it probably would have affected me more than, like, performance-wise, Andy. Probably like a few races, I would have been a bit victim mode, and then I probably would have had to slap myself in the face, look myself in the mirror, and go, "Well, I got one option here. The destiny's in my hands. Like, the better I perform, the better ride I get the next year." So props to that whole team and Gunner and the staff and the mechanics. Like, look, most people would do that in their shoes, but still,
Yeah.
you got to give them props.
Andy, well, those two guys are at the top of the heap on like, okay, who's available for next year, and there's like a steady totem pole of like, if that guy signs and that frees up him, and then he's the next guy that moves up, and then so you almost have this bidding war, and you got five very anyway. So, but the two of those guys are riding bikes right now on the hill. If you're in Mont-Sainte-Anne and you want to know who Andy Kolb and who Oshina Callahan is,
Oh, really?
run up the hill right now, and you'll see. Like, they
Someone
can't hide it. They're up there.
Someone get out to Mount Saint and drop a comment here. Let's have some nice rumors going on in the comments.
If this is a live podcast, no, the news will be out before the podcast, I think. Actually, no, it won't.
How? This is going to come out tomorrow. They're not going to announce. Oh, I guess they can because they're not they can get released from the contract. So here's another thing I was hoping to see in my lifetime, still as a mountain bike, whatever you call me. Okay, I'll just be a punter. Call me a punter. Right. The releases from these contracts in your last year needs to happen latest end of October, so that we have a silly season and all the new teams are announced and you can start riding your bike. Because currently, you got to keep it a secret till January 1st. In a normal year, not a YT issue, right? Yeah. I'd love the contracts to end earlier and the new ones to begin, like, let's change the cycle from 1st of November till end of October.
Smart. Yeah.
So that can be the new, like, racing financial year. Yeah. Anyway, in a perfect world. Dakota Norton, I mean, dude, if there's a guy that has a dog in him, I mean, to come back and like perform is one thing in the finals. Yeah. But like, he's not physically where he wants to be, and he got 5th. No. And it's insane. I mean, 4th. No, sorry, 4th. Dakota, I take that back. Pinky was 5th. So speaking of, that team was going to do really well if Ronan kept it together.
There's 3 of those guys would have been,
in the top 5, top 6. So that is cool to see. You got to give him props, and we mustn't forget Pinky showing some serious maturity, man. He's been in the finals, top results the whole year, really cool. And then as we end maybe some of the overall chat, Lucas Shaw just quietly sneaks into 3rd overall. Everyone thought Troy Brosnan would be the consistent rider this year from that team. Yeah. And Lucas Shaw just, that's badass.
Yeah, and still, like, hasn't, he's been around a long time and been close for so long, but still not giving up and just getting better. He's kind of like becoming a fine wine, and still has youth on his side, but has so much experience and strength and power, and checks so many boxes of what you need to be in a modern downhill racer, and can do it on the a Leogang track to a Mont-Sainte-Anne track, the gnarly stuff, and it's
I mean, he definitely plays to his strength, but that's not taking away, like, there's so many gnarly sections on the tracks where, say, he does well on the motorway, or he can make back time at Lake Placid where he didn't have the top half. that he expected. It wasn't because he was slow; he just made mistakes, and then he can just rally when it really suits him. Like
Yeah.
it's really incredible to see that. So, I mean, there were so many standouts of the year. What else stands out to you, Sven, from that race, the year? Obviously, we're going to miss a lot of things. Nina Hoffman in second. She ends the year off
Well,
incredibly well. Miriam Nicole, I mean, what an up and down season for her on the
yeah.
podium. Lisa Bauman,
Well,
we all know she's going to be a force to be reckoned with in the future when she wasn't healthy the whole year. And Sasha Ernest,
yeah,
that
finally coming up
finally,
consistently,
like,
two
that's
races
what
in a
we
row.
know she's able to do. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's cool. That's a nice way to
yeah,
end
yeah.
going into the off season.
Also, like, not to forget, Ellie Helsingbusch, her qualifying, so she flattered in a qualifying run, and so Letha won the race. And on qualifying day, I believe the juniors were the fastest time. They were quicker than the elite ladies. But so Letha won and was quicker than the elite ladies. But when Ellie flattered, at the third split or something, she was 3 seconds up on Aletha, which puts her 3 seconds faster than the fastest woman in the world. Right? So
Down Mount
would
St.
have, could
Anne.
have, should have. It's a quali, and she'd flattered and she didn't finish, but the time was there, dude. The juniors. We talk about all the junior men coming up, but there's she's actually the only one. Well, not the only one. There's a couple others, Tilly and a few others. But the other crop of Rosa, Lena, Elitha, they all staying another year in junior. But Ellie has finally kind of, yeah, she didn't end up with the win she wanted, and I would say like almost deserved with showing her speed this week. But at one point of the race, she was 3 seconds faster than the fastest woman in the world on that day. Yeah, she flattered, didn't finish, but so that's going to be a good boost for her going into the off season, and knowing that you didn't maybe tick off all the wins you wanted in your junior career, but you are ready, well and truly ready for elites, and you can train accordingly, and hold your head up high and just make that off season training, a bit easier.
Yeah, and I think it's really nice to know you got the speed. Like, there's nothing worse as a
Mm,
racer to know like you're lacking the speed, because like the
mm,
gym, the intervals, a bit of the mental, you can kind of get that going. But if you're like a couple seconds off where you're hoping to be,
yeah.
that's a bitter pill to swallow. So yeah, those juniors have definitely shown they've got the speed. So they just need the other sort of pieces of the puzzle to fall into place. I've been hyping him up quite a bit, but Dylan Maples seems to be able to ride somewhat injured or coming back from injury. Like, it's something on that common cell team that they have in the water there, that they're
Yeah.
able to dig deep when it counts. So he's another top 10 for him. I guess I've been singing his praises, deservingly so. But what about Luke, like Wayman? Like, there's a lot of people that it's quite tough to stand out this season, and there's some guys that are
First,
incredible riders.
I guess he's the best performing first year elite out of the crop. Like, is he the best rookie pro this year?
It
Or is there
seems that
someone
way.
others that I'm forgetting?
I haven't dug into the ages,
Yeah,
but it does
I
seem
think he
like
might. I
he's
think he
the
might be
one
like
coming up.
we have, well, that's a bit kind of a good title to bestow on riders. Surfers have the
Oh
best
yeah,
rookie,
the
like
best
when you
rookie.
qualify. Yeah,
Oh, we should
we should
make the movie
actually.
needle rookie cup,
Yeah,
the rookie title.
maybe
Let's
when
look
a
at that
follow
for
up
next
podcast.
year.
Yeah, well, let's get a sponsor in, and like like when does amazing stuff, just giving money
A rookie
and
title. I like, so first year elite, and now we've
yeah,
got so
first.
many juniors coming up.
Oh
That's
yeah,
going to be weird. The,
the
the
rookie
rookie of
title
the
might be
year,
that.
third overall in
He could be
2026.
first overall. You never know.
Yeah, true.
Next year's rookie could be first overall. There's a
Same in the
couple of them,
ladies. Yeah, we got to call them women
but
now, not the girls, because they're coming up
yeah.
to elite. Yeah, that's true.
um,
I just think like it's quite tough to stand out with the top 30. You miss a few finals, people forget. They forget you first year elite. Like, normally you're in the finals, gaining a bit of momentum, gaining confidence, getting a few
mm.
results. I mean,
And
even like,
he was also not one, like, he showed a couple of races as a junior, but he wasn't one of the obvious juniors. So it's cool that he got his place on a factory team, like, on a good bike with the Athertons. And and it'll be interesting to see where Maples ends up next year, because there's quite a few teams that he's almost the next pick down. If Kolb and Ocean are signed up, they basically, Maples has the pick of the litter. He's probably got 5 or 6 offers, and he's just needed to choose, and he can choose on his terms and choose the bike he wants to ride.
Yeah, there's someone else, but I don't really know if his contract's up, so I don't want to speak about it. But I think we're going to have to do a silly season update once like a
Yeah.
lot of the signings happen. Because it's cool. We probably should split that before the preview, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
what a year, Sven. I think
I'm
we'll have
sorry
to
if we're
start.
forgetting. Sorry if
Dude, we're
we're
definitely
forgetting
forgetting.
everyone
But
because
that's,
there's like because John T. Williams I saw do the sickest triple. He had in the Rock Garden, like he did some crazy stuff. That Ryder Lawrence kid, like he did well last week, qualified second or something, or he goes on the podium and he had a massive crash in the Rock Garden in his quali, and the junior qualifying is quite tight, and he somehow squeaked in at 20th and then ended up fifth on the day. Man, Pom Pom got her podium. She's like just more invigorated than ever, and we'll see her racing again next year, which is really cool.
it sounds like it. Didn't she sort of tease another year or two?
Yeah, no, she's looking like she's loving it, and the team is
Yeah.
strong, and they've had like a spotty year for them, but they're just pushing hard all the time, and like shit happens. A spotty year second in the constructors and riders still up there on the podiums. He's not a spotty year, but like we would normally be talking about Omri on a race like this, and he looked really good in training and was one of the guys that looked like could win the race, but like it just didn't pan out that way. So yeah, yeah, it's going to be, other than Loic, and hopefully this is not a major injury. And Max's hands and fingers and wrists. He broke his finger in the rock garden, but it was his wrist on his other hand which has been sore the last two races. That's why his pace has kind of backed off a little bit. But I think mostly we're moving into an off season where everyone's healthy for now, so that it's going to be a crazy first race next year in a crazy country, or not crazy, just a new exciting venue. So it's going to start like with a bang. It's just 6 months later. So it's too bad.
Where was Kiefer? Did he get injured in training?
He looked like. Hey, did Kiefer flat or crash? I can't remember. I think did he not flat
Well,
or
he
crash
didn't.
in quali?
No, but it looked like
Or
he
did he not?
didn't do. He didn't take
I
to
think
the quali.
he race quali morning crash.
Oh shit!
And just called it.
Because that's he deserves a big mention. Like that's quite the year he had. It was 3 podiums on the trot, and it's the top 3 podium. So new school podium. Yeah, that team did well. I mean, Troy's still in the top 10. So as much as Troy said he didn't have his best year or wasn't as consistent as he expected, yeah, really
And
good.
Luke Meyer Smith went from 20th in the overall 2 races ago and finishes in top 10 from just 2 races. He bumped himself 10 spots in 2
Yeah,
races.
that's huge. Well, normally that happens with a win, right? And that's why it was so interesting. I didn't really dig into the points, but you would think Jackson would have had that lead with 5 wins. It shows how consistent Loic was with his points. He fluffed his perfect record of going through Q1 and doing the finals. Like he was one of the 3 riders to go through Q1 and into the finals, but then he didn't race finals. So now it's only Valley and Nina that went Q1. I feel like he still did the job, right?
I'd say no. I mean, he could have he could have broken the beam. He was at the top of the course for finals. I'm going to give Loic a perfect season, other than an imperfect end.
Yeah,
totally.
That's a good way to wrap it up, isn't it?
Yeah, I wish I could just give him a hug right now. And thankfully for him, he's got more exciting positivity in his very near future, and he'll be bringing in a new one to the world. So good luck with that. And
he won't have a lot of time to dwell on this season.
No, and which is good. He doesn't, which is what he needs. He just think about bikes.
It might come at a really good time. I'm glad they timed it very well. Weird that an analytical guy like Loic was able to time the birth of his kid just off the season. Well done. That's not easy.
I did hear at the after party a couple of high-profile athletes. They had to lose their hat sponsor because their mates are like, mate, you can't be wearing that hat in this party. You're going to just have to be you can't be that athlete at this party. And it wasn't Jackson. Jackson kept his hat on.
Because it's too easy to get girls that way.
No, it's no, because you're getting a bit out of control.
Oh, if there's some videos surfaced.
It's like, we don't need that look for you. So I'll just say it wasn't Jackson, but there's a couple of other people that could have been. a lot of other people actually. So it
Epic.
was a
Well,
good. I asked Jackson what he's doing in the off season. Just a quick end, and he's like, he hasn't even thought about it, but he wants to go on holiday somewhere. He doesn't know where. As he said, as long as it's warm and has a golf course or a couple of golf courses nearby. Like, because I was like, go to coast, go somewhere, go to the water. And he's like, I don't want to surf. I want to play golf. So
sounds like South Africa, dude. Cheap, sunny, top class golf courses. Ike's around the corner.
Needles as a guide. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a guy. I'll hook you up. All right, Sven Martin, you're a legend. Alan Milway, Ed Masters, Win Masters came on quite a few times. And then I roped Ollie Wilkins into Hardline Review. So if it wasn't for them, this wouldn't be possible. You guys, and epic news. If you share your favorite moment in the comment, where Sven had about 25 and I had about 40, and you hashtag MalletDH, you can win a limited edition Loic Bruni signature set of pedals. Hey, we're celebrating Loic, even though it didn't go to plan. So, guys, definitely celebrate them. Make sure you subscribe to this channel and Crankbrothers. They are instrumental in bringing you this podcast. So, make sure you follow them. They rock. They've been the first sponsor of the podcast. They've been with Sven and I since back when I visited you in 2003. I think you forced me on the pedals.
Yeah.
And thank you.
I remember that day.
I didn't look back.
I remember that. I said you'll fall over for the first 2 days because you'll like the clipping.
Yeah, they're so
in and
different.
Out.
Yeah.
But then you will never be able to go back. So.
And I haven't and I can't. So there you go, legends. Thanks very much.
All right, mate.
Thanks very much to Crankbrothers. This was the Crankbrothers Race Review Series. Myself and a selected co-host will break down each and every World Cup this season. Now, Crankbrothers is synonymous with the DH racing circuit. Last year, they celebrated 14 years in a row of Elite World Champs wins in that Mallet DH pedal. They've also won the 2024 World Cup overall title on the pedal. And it's not just pedals. They've been offering to their product offering, and they have a whole host of race winners and podium contenders in their shoes. Riders like Ronan Dunn, Andy Cole, Bernard Kerr, Ocean O'Callaghan, Lucas Shaw, Cammy Belange, and Troy Brosnan, plus Benoit Coulange, just to name a few. Now, in other exciting news, Commensal Makov will be running the Crankbrothers wheels this season. Now, if you know me, I am personally blown away by the shoe and pedal combo. I love them. I picked the Boa Mallet shoe at the moment. It's easy the best shoe I have ridden.